I'm ready.
Okay. Obvious statement here. All people are obviously different, but differences kind of make up someone's personality, and everyone's kind of a little odd or weird or peculiar. And this kind of also like adds to someone's charm. And those terms are kind of thrown around loosely to describe people and kind of make them a little bit uncomfortable. But a quote from Alice Adams, I guess all talented people are a bit peculiar. It's part of their charm. And just like it said, all talented people are a little bit peculiar. It's part of their charm. I really agree with that statement. Actors, actresses, musicians, athletes are all a little bit different. It's kind of how they got there. Actors and actresses, kind of think about when you're watching a movie, what kind of makes them, attracts you to them. Kind of maybe like, think of a comedian. Say like you're watching a funny movie, say maybe just with Will Ferrell. He's kind of going to make you like him with the way he presents jokes and everything. And it's kind of a little, you're going to think it's a little weird. And some people are going to be like, this guy's kind of, some people are not going to agree with his jokes. And then that's just going to add it. So, some other people are going to agree. So it's kind of a 50-50. And then also with musicians, a lot of musicians, they have a little kind of a few things that people might think, there's something wrong with them. There's something wrong up there in their head. But, they think about a lot of things, so they have a lot on their mind. They're going through, they have to write all of these chords and progressions and riffs. So they kind of have a lot to make them different and add to their charm. Because they're going to get you to like their music. I mean, if you do like that kind of music, the little differences are going to bring you in and pull you in. And also with athletes, they all have their different superstitions they kind of go through. When they start off, maybe say go with like a tennis player. Before they serve the ball, they'll bounce the ball say like 4, maybe 5 times, and they kind of get into a rhythm, and everyone's like doesn't really notice the small things, but unless you're obviously a person who plays a sport, then you might notice those things. But it also adds a little bit to their personality too. They're going to act a little different, and everyone, you kind of have people base their own personalities off of other people's personalities too. It's kind of like a monkey see thing, monkey do. You take a little bit from everybody's personality to create your own personality. And just to sum up the topics again, everyone is also different, and which makes everyone a little bit peculiar in their own way. Actresses, musicians, athletes, kind of everyone who really has talent. And I'm sure everybody has their own talent, so everyone's going to be different.
You do a lot of things, I think, that are very consistent, and you do them pretty well, but there aren't as many things that stand out as they ought to. I think You do an excellent job making eye contact with the audience, except for those times when you have to turn your body around and look back at the notes that you've written down behind you, and that feels a little, takes you out of it a little bit. You develop your material pretty well. Even though the first couple of ones are abstract, I think the Will Ferrell thing, you tried to find some exact illustration to point out. You've got a person to talk about. It would be nice if you could say something about what that person does that works or doesn't work for some people, and how it's really a matter of opinion on that. I actually kind of like the little detail about the tennis player and the certain number of times that they bounce the ball or something like that. And even though we don't have a particular person that we've got in our heads that we're talking about at that point, at least the visualization is pretty focused and we got some idea what's going on there, so that's nice. Most of the things that I'm talking about have to do that are problematic have to do with the pacing of the speech and the energy level. You've got a very deliberate style that you're using. Maybe you're doing some of it to keep calm. Maybe that's just your natural demeanor, but it does feel a little bit like, come on, it's morning time. We got to have you don't have to be dancing on the table, but we got to have a little bit more energy and a little bit more animation while you're speaking. Nothing was distracting. I didn't see anything that was problematic. At the beginning, it turns out that it was a preview, but it didn't sound much like a preview. You just kind of had this sentence where you mentioned a whole bunch of people that might be a little peculiar. And then as you started talking, I'm just writing them down and said, you know what, I think maybe he said those things at the beginning, but it didn't really sound much like a preview. So it was organized. The preview is a little bit iffy, and at the end you kind of organize it and restructure it again as illustrations. So I think that it worked pretty well. Like I said, there are some things that I think could be a little bit stronger. The pacing could be a little bit more energetic, and maybe your voice could be a little bit more up. But there wasn't anything that was really problematic. All right, thank you.